Hey everybody, it's Maya, and today we're going to be exploring the life of the author of the famous novel, The Marrow Thieves. So Cherie Dimaline has always been very involved in her Indigenous community. She comes from Georgian Bay near Pennaquashet, Ontario. She didn't personally experience any loss from the residential schools. Her family was removed from that, but she said she did want to experience and learn more through her character, Frenchie, who did experience loss from this school. So she did do a lot of research, talk to a lot of people from other communities to gain this insight and make the novel as accurate as possible. However, she does know a lot about relocation as she moved around a lot as a child. She said she had two main relocations in her life, mostly due to the gentrification of her Indigenous communities. They are beautiful communities, they're on the lakeside, and as they got more popular, they got more expensive, and that she was always forced to relocate. Moving on, a lot of the concepts in this futuristic novel do stem from her experiences as a child. For example, we can reflect on story, which is a very central part of the plot in The Marrow Thieves. It's how the main characters, Frenchie, Riri, they all learn about their history, their past, and they're so intrigued and held onto by the story. They feel that it represents everything about their Indigenous identity. She too was told this story by her elders, the story about her people, her culture. She was told to sit and listen, and she knows the significance that this story holds for her people. So she passed that down to her characters, put that into writing, and expressed it to everyone as they read it. They felt those same things that she felt as she listened to story for the first time as a child. Another futuristic concept is the concept of heading north. In the novel, the characters are always attempting to move north. North is where safety is. And when asked what moving north means to her, she said that moving north means going home. When she was a child, her grandmother would always say, "We are going north," implying we are going to our Indigenous community, we are going home. And even when that Indigenous community was no longer there, she still thought of heading north as going home. And finally, there was the idea of running away. So in the novel, the characters are always running away from the threat of the residential schools, the threat of the recruiters, and she used this as a way to represent her feeling as an Indigenous person of constantly running away from the threat of loss of her cultural identity, her language, her ceremonies. And these two concepts of running away are very similar and go hand in hand. So she originally did not intend to write for young adults. She was heading more in the adult direction, but as she got deeper into her writing, she realized the impact that this novel could have on the youth and how Frenchie's young voice, his narration, could impact Indigenous youth to see a future for themselves and know that they will always keep fighting for their culture. Frenchie, the protagonist, is also a member of the same Métis community that she is from, so that's always interesting. We could say that she sees herself in the protagonist. And a final point about Cherie Dimaline is that she did do quite a bit of research for this novel, which I personally find very interesting. When she was looking into the post-apocalyptic reality that we could be facing due to climate change, she went into NASA research, looked at various sources, and she did adjust her storyline to fit the reality that is being projected by scientists. Originally, she wanted to do something more desert-based, make the prairies into deserts, but as she got deeper into her research, she found out that what is really threatening us is the rising of sea levels and that everything will actually be wet and damp and we have less space. It's constantly raining, and all of these points are seen in the setting of her novel. She also did research about the loss of dreams. So in this novel, a huge part of the plot is the fact that everyone, except for people of the Indigenous community, have lost the ability to dream, and it's driving them mad. So she did do research about this topic and did find that it is a result that can happen when you do not dream, when you do not sleep properly. And the loss of dreams is really supposed to represent the loss of the capability to control your own existence. So that's Cherie Dimaline. She's an amazing writer. She has so many things going together in her novel, and I really recommend that you read it. Hey everybody, it's Maya, and today we're going to be exploring the life of the author of the famous novel, The Marrow Thieves. So Cherie Dimaline has always been very involved in her Indigenous community. She comes from Georgian Bay